And welcome back to our 33-hour check-in, where discipline meets design and where we work. That's right, we work together to improve our health. The work that you started yesterday begins turning into something real in your metabolism. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And guess what? That's right. We are living limitless lives, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Whatever platform you're joining us from, whatever city, state, town, village, and of course, whatever country you're joining us from, I want to welcome you to our show as we walk through another amazing fasting process. And wherever you are, we want to welcome you. And a special shout out to our accelerator members who are out there. We thank you for coming and joining with us. And a special shout out to our folks who are joining us from Atlanta, Berean. We know that there were some of you who joined us for the first time last week, and we are glad that you are here for this week. So we have some amazing things that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute, but we are in our fast. We're in our fast. So if you are fasting with me, if you are fasting with me this week, I want you to raise your hand. I want you to drop in the comments, and I want you to put fasting, right? I want you to put fasting. Whether you are fasting today, whether you fasted yesterday, whether you are going to be fasting with us tomorrow, whichever fasting you're doing, we are excited that you're here, and I just want you to drop it. Just put in fasting, okay? So, as you come to the channel, as you come to the show, there are several things that I want you to be able to plug into and be able to take advantage of. Remember, everything that we do on the show here, everything we do on the channel is designed to help you to have the success in your health, just like you're having in other areas of your life. We want you to show up with your best self, your best health, your best plans, and to be around for those things in your life, your family, your friends, your community, and of course for those dreams that you've been pouring into. You don't need superhuman strength. What you need is a strategy you can trust. You need a plan you can follow, and you need support, and you need the encouragement to keep going as you are moving through your health space, okay? Now, with that said, there are several things on the channel that I want you to make sure that you're taking advantage of. If you're new to the channel, if you are new to the space, if you are new to us, there is on the channel the Start Here playlist. And the Start Here playlist is designed to help you walk through the pathway of being successful with your health. If you want to know what are the things that we talk about, if you want to know what are the platforms, the tools that we're using, if you want to know what are some of the pivotal shows that we've done on the channel, that's where you would find it. So on the channel, Start Here. And then if you're interested in knowing what the shows are that we're doing for this week, right? What are we talking about this week? What are the topics? What did I eat, for example? What did I eat for the last time before I got into my fast? Then you want to make sure that you watch the playlist that's called This Week's Videos. And those are all there so that you can be part of it, okay? And as I always say, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. I'm Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here we educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living, that's right, we're living limitless lives. So I've got off to my side. Let's see. I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at here. I've got my continuous glucose monitors, my CGMs with my Dexcom and my Freestyle Libre. that I want to talk about what's going on with me physically, mentally, and emotionally. Those are the three areas where people tend to have some challenges, tend to have some issues. So let's walk through that. First of all, physically, that is how am I feeling in terms of energy. And that's usually the place where people will talk about what's going on with them. Are they able to get through the day? Are they able to do the things they need to do? Do they feel like they're hitting a wall at some point during the day? And that has to do with sometimes the transition that goes on between different energy sources in the body. And right now, I'm actually feeling pretty good. If you remember last week when we did our check-in, I talked about getting a cold, and I'm still a little stuffy. You may hear a little bit still in my voice, and I'm still kind of sneezing sometimes, but feeling much better than I did before. And so energy-wise, I am full of energy. I'm not feeling weak, tired, and so forth. And then mentally, as you know, the thought process goes along with what happens in terms of your physical. So sometimes when you're feeling not well, then your thought process can be compromised as well. And this week I'm feeling sharp. I'm not feeling foggy-headed. I'm not feeling as though I'm in a bubble, right? Sometimes that's what some people will say. Don't feel like I'm grasping for words or that I'm dull. Okay. And then, of course, emotionally, and I'm excited because we are continuing in our Blueprint series, so that's an excitement for me. I'm also excited because I continue to watch and see what's going on with my health and hearing what's going on with you as well, the successes that you're having in your various walks in your health space. So that's a big part of the excitement that I get. And also in my office, right? So patients are coming through, clients are coming through, and everybody is taking, I should say everybody, but people are now taking charge of their health, and they're understanding that they can be different, that their lives can be different, that their health can be different. And so for me, that's an exciting space to be in. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, right now, actually feeling pretty good. And then let's go ahead and let's go over and let's take a look at what's happening in terms of my continuous glucose monitors. And this first one that we're going to look at, this is my Freestyle Libre, and this is a Libre 3 Plus. Oh, right there. And you'll see it says right now that my blood sugar is 70. And if you scroll down here, you'll see that it says that for a lot of the day, my blood sugar was kind of straddling 70. So on the graph where you see the white lines, right, the white squiggly line, those are blood sugars that are above 70. And where you see the red line, squiggly line, those are blood sugars that are below 70. So according to the Libre, for most of the day, we've kind of been going back and forth between those. Now, one of the things that we know is that the Libre tends to be lower than the Dexcom. So we'll take a look at the Dexcom in a minute to see what that is, and then we'll also compare it to what we have in terms of my other monitors that we have off to the side. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. But for now, let's go ahead and walk through some of these graphs and some of these reports that we have. So here is my one of the reports that I do. One of the ones I like is the report that gives me my time in range, and we're looking at these numbers right here. So 80% in range, and then 19% lows, and then 1% very low. So very low is usually below 54, and then low is anything between 54-ish and 70, and then of course above that is considered in the range. We want to look at the 90-day version of this because 90 days, that's where we get our A1C. So we look at the A1C over 90 days, and that tells us what's been going on over the last 3 months in terms of blood sugar. And so I'm 85% in range with 14% lows, and then 1% very low. So that if you add those numbers up, it gives you the 100%. And then changing the report, this is my average blood sugar, looking at this number right up here. And that number is my average for all of the blood sugars that we have. And I'm going to jump right over to 90 days because 90 days, once again, is where the A1C comes from. What I love about this graph is that it breaks the blood sugars down into different times of the day, and it allows me to pinpoint different things that are going on throughout the day. All right? So that's what that gives me. Coming out of that and then going over to my Dexcom. And right now, my Dexcom says my blood sugar is 86. And let's get out of that. Yep. So say my blood sugar is 86. And I forgot actually what the other one said. So 71 and 86. So where was that? 15 points away from each other. Okay. So looking at this number right here. So Dexcom says 86 and I'm steady. Looking at the 24-hour period, I can put my finger on this graph and just kind of scroll through, and you'll get to see what the numbers have been as we go through the various times of the day. And you see, for the most part, it's actually been 80s, 90s, low 100s with a peak right there, and that was about 6:30 this morning, and that's where I brushed my teeth. And as you always hear me say, there is toothpaste, there's sugar in the toothpaste, and here we're in the low 100s, low 100s, down, and then down into, we dipped below 70 for just a moment, right about, actually we dipped into the 70s, I shouldn't say below 70, right for just a little while, right in there. And then looking at my clarity report, right, and I'm going to jump let's take a look at, I was going to jump directly to 90, but let's look over the last 3 days, right? So 13, average blood sugar of 13. If I look over the last week, 114, 14 days, 115, 30 days, 112, and 90 days, 116. And you'll see that number right below the 115, that's my glucose management indicator, which is what I would expect my A1C to be about, right? So I would expect it to be right around that. I can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number, but that is one of the things I love, is that it gives me an estimate of what that would be. Okay? All right. And so now let's go ahead and we're going to hop over and we're going to say hi to some of our community members who are out there. And then we'll get into our discussion for this evening. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pop over and say hello. And let's see who we got out there. So I see Gian out there. Gian says, hi, doctor. Hey, Gian, how are you? Thank you for coming through. Oh. Go back over here. There we go. She says, hey, LLG. Says, I completed a 48-hour fast. Okay, there we go. Hand clap for you, Gian. Okay. Oh, that's right, Gian. So you just reminded me. So I am actually coming to say hi to the community. Let me do that. I'll finish that, but I need to go back and look at my numbers. I didn't look at the other meters. So I was just so excited to come on and talk with you guys. She's completed the 48-hour, and she's guessing that my ketones are going to be 0.7. Cornelia, what's going on, girl? She said, hi, Dr. Woode. Congratulations, Gian. She said, I like your guess. I guess 0.8. Okay, good. So close to each other. And Gian says, sis, hi, sis. Cornelia said, hey, sis, and so happy to see you. Yes, Cornelia, we are happy to see you here in this space. Thank you. She said, I know, thank you. I'm so glad to be awake and able to join. So we're glad that you are here as well. So let's go ahead and I jumped over the using my monitor. So let's go ahead and let's hop back over there right now. And so what we were doing is we were looking at my continuous monitors, but I also want to see what's going on according to these guys. So here's my Keto Mojo, and here is my Contour. So let's get a strip for the Contour. Right, so actually, I need to do something really quickly because I don't see any Lancets in there. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to just put this one here really quickly. Get over here. Okay. And while I do that, let me go ahead and we'll take a listen to our move campaign. Let's go ahead and do that right now. And while I grab this really quick. Welcome to Move, metabolic optimization via exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is Move. Let's get started. All right, so we are back, and so I just grabbed the bag of Lancets. I'm going to go ahead and open that up and pour those in here. Awesome. All right, so now I can go ahead and grab that out. I need a couple of those. And we get our strip into that monitor. I'm going to go ahead and open up. This is the blood sugar strip or glucose strip for the Keto Mojo. And also open up the ketones. Okay, and this is the one that Cornelia and Gian were guessing just a little while ago. So we'll get to that in just a sec. And then, so I've got my Lancets. And if you know, I don't use the Lansing device. So I just actually open up the Lancet and find a finger, which I usually use this one right here. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ow, 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 ow. And there you go. A nice brisk drop. So get that started. Get this one started. And while that goes, I'm going to actually put the monitor back up so that we can see what that is. So my Keto Mojo says 75. My Contour says 80. My Dexcom, and you'll see that top number there. Actually, let me do it this way. Says 86. And if I go back here, it says 71. So actually not that far from each other. We got 71 to 75, so that's 4 points off. And then 75 to 80, that's 5 points. And then 80 to 86. Okay, so all of them are within, what's that? 5 to 6 points of each other. Okay, so really not that far off from what we would expect. And as you know, the monitors are allowed to be 20% off and still considered to be within the range. Now, let's go ahead. And I'm going to change this strip for a ketone strip and then get that drop here and get that started. So I think I saw, I saw Gian put a guess in there and Cornelia as well. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0.4. 0.4 is what my ketones are right now, okay? As you know, ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, and then 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now we are in the, we're actually in the normal range, and it'll be interesting to see what that number is as we get further and further into the fast. Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing that as we move through this week. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to make a couple of changes here as we get ready for our discussion for this evening, because we are in the transition zone. That is always exciting to me because this is a very important space and one of the places where we can sometimes have some challenges, but we're actually doing a good job in our community and with all of the things that we're doing in terms of our health. So let me go ahead and get some things set up for this, and we're gonna hop over and have that conversation. So give me just a minute. I usually do this offline for you, but one day we're going to actually bring you guys on so you can actually see all the things that we do as we move through the show. All right, there we go. Let's move this up just a little bit more. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and just hop over to our discussion for this evening. All right, so this week, as we're walking through our series, we're talking about balance, and we're at 33 hours, right? So balance is where we're learning that it's not about it's not about symmetry, it's about dynamic stability. So often when we think about balance, we think, okay, everything has to be equal. And it's not about keeping everything equal, it's about keeping everything supported. And at 33 hours into the fast, this is a perfect place where we talk about a perfect example of what balance actually looks like. So balance isn't something you achieve. Balance is actually something that your body builds through rhythm, alignment, and structure, right? That RAS model. And so this transition point is what we're talking about as we move through this space. So 33 hours, we're talking about our transition point, right? You're no longer fasting on motivation. You're fasting on design. Your body has crossed what we call the transition point, the moment when your metabolism takes over and says, okay, I got this now. This is where balance begins. So the scale inside your body is shifting from short-term fuel to long-term stability. This is not willpower. It's physiology organizing itself, right? So far, you got started, you were excited, you jumped in, and you are pumped. We're starting a new week. We're starting a new fast. We're starting a new month. We're starting a new process for our health. And so the fire is there. And as that begins to wear off, as that begins to wane, what it is that keeps you going is the fact that your body has already or is already in that transition, right? So motivation hands the wheel, as it were, to your metabolism. And so we're moving from motivation to metabolism. And so the metabolic handoff, right? Your body is handing off the fuel supply. So glycogen is mostly depleted, insulin is low, glucagon is rising, because remember, insulin and glucagon go in opposite directions. Fatty acids begin flowing, ketones begin registering. So that's metabolic equilibrium. Your body is learning to stabilize without external input. And that is the definition of balance. So it is stabilizing. It is doing what it needs to do to make sure that you are functioning well. Remember, your system, your body is designed to heal. Because your body is designed to maintain homeostasis. And that's this idea of within normal balance, right? I was talking to someone actually in the office just today, and they were actually pointing out that they are excited because for the first time, they are seeing that the things that they do gives the body a chance to heal. Because all the time, they used to think that they were actually fighting the body. That, hey, I am almost forcing my body to do things, to heal itself. But no, the body's already primed. It's waiting, it's ready. And when we give it the space that it needs, then the body actually does an amazing job, right? So this is that metabolic handoff. And so there are lots of things that are going on in the body. This idea of resilience, right? The resilience crossover. Why stress feels like, well, different at 33 hours. And at 33 hours, cortisol begins settling. It's not just physical, it's hormonal. So cortisol begins settling because when we first started the fast, the body may have seen that as a shock and as a surprise, as a stress. Because if this is your first time, this is your first several times, the body is still kind of getting used to the fact that, hey, we're not going to get anything to eat right now. And it's not quite sure, is this starvation or is this a process that we're going in? And so as it begins learning, as you become more metabolically flexible, that cortisol level actually begins settling in a predictable rhythm. Growth hormone protects muscles. One of the concerns that people have when they're fasting is that I'm going to waste muscle. Well, you're going to lose muscle because you're losing weight, but the amount of muscle that you lose is not as much as people think, because growth hormone actually comes out, and growth hormone helps to protect that. Ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, the waves begin to soften. They're not as big of spikes. Remember, hunger comes in waves, comes in every 20 to 30 minutes. But then that actually begins easing up as we get further into the fast. Leptin, which is our satiety hormone, begins sensitizing and it begins shifting. So it is more sensitive to the fact that, okay, I'm not hungry. So not only are we stabilizing the hunger hormone, but we're also helping the body to sense that, hey, I am not hungry. So the satiety hormone also is there playing. So when your hormones trust your structure, your metabolism begins to heal. And balance appears not as a feeling, but as a pattern. This is what we call hormonal harmony. Hormonal harmony, because the hormones are doing what they're supposed to do. Okay? So let's normalize some things. So as you're moving through your space, as you're moving through your fasting, you may find that you feel a little bit more chilly in terms of cold. And so what's happening, because the body has gotten to the space where it's no longer stressed and it is normalizing things, it begins looking to make some strategic changes. It begins to look to say, okay, what can I do in my system to help improve the system? What can I repair? What can I fix? And as it does that, then the blood that normally is coming up to your skin, which is what keeps us warm, it begins to turn inward, because the body's looking to see, what do I need to do on the inside? What am I fixing on the inside? I have space now. I have the signal. He said to me, she said to me, talking about you, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm fasting. So I am not putting more stuff in. I'm giving you a chance to rest. And as the body begins to rest, it can divert energy into doing different things. So you may feel a little chilliness at the initial parts of fasting. You may feel a light dip in your energy as the body transitions from burning carbohydrates to burning burn carbohydrates to burning fat. And as that happens, you feel that dip. But what happens is, because sugar is a fluctuant, right? It does like this, the energy source, and fat is a continuous, for lack of a better word, a cleaner energy source. That dip is short-lived, and then you actually get better energy. Your thinking becomes clearer, because now we're burning ketones, we're using ketones, we have beta hydroxybutyrate that's coming through, and that's like miracle grow for the brain. We're making connections now that we weren't making before. Hunger waves are passing, so those hunger waves, which come every 20 to 30 minutes in okay, I know I feel a little cold. There's nothing wrong. I understand what's going on. My body's transitioning. My body's healing. I feel a little dip in my energy. Okay, I know nothing's wrong. I know that my body is now transitioning from one energy source to another. So balance, right? Balance is not, and this transition is not the absence of a signal. It's knowing how to interpret the signal. So it's not that the body's not going to say anything. The body's just quiescent. No, it still has signals. But now we are able to interpret what those signals are. So what is normal at 33 hours? And then I want to talk about some markers of this transition. But let's first talk about supporting the crossover. Well, let me get back over here. Talking about supporting the crossover, right? So we'll get there. But what are some markers that we can look for that says, okay, this is what's happening, right? These are kind of like mileposts that we're looking at. So what are some of those markers that we can look at? And some of those markers include predictable glucose trends. And one of the reasons I love to look at my numbers and share my numbers is because when you see those numbers, it gives you a better idea of what's going on in your body. And at first you may see numbers fluctuating a lot, and then as you get into the fast, those numbers begin to stabilize. So you get more balanced numbers as you get into the fast, and at 33 hours, yeah, there it is. So predictable glucose trends. Number 2, consistent ketones. So ketones begin rising, and we look at those numbers to see what's going on with the ketones over time. Meaning the body is transitioning. And then we begin to feel stable mood, reduced urgency of cravings, and better thought connections. So we're looking for those mile markers. What are those indicators? What are those markers of smooth transition? So stabilizing blood sugars, consistent ketones, and stable mood, reduced urgency, and more calm. Predictability is the safety signal that your metabolism craves. It wants to be predictable. It wants to know what's going to happen. Balance is your body saying, we're okay. Keep going. You don't have to stop. You don't have to, right? So this is what's happening. So when we're talking about this process then, what are some of the things that we're looking at? Right? So we're looking at things like continuous glucose monitors. So this idea of data by design. So your body is producing data all around you. And so we've talked about some of those subjective things, how I feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. I just gave a list of some things that you can look at: blood sugars, ketones. And monitoring is an amazing process. That's why I am so much a fan of monitoring. So data allows you to build rhythm, and rhythm allows you to bring balance. That's the design cue. Your body is remembering that what you've done, and that you've done this before. So that constant process that you go through. For those of you who are fasting for the first time, when you have fasted and you are continually doing that, your body becomes flexible, metabolic flexibility. So that when you start fasting, the body says, okay, this is not a stress, this is not danger. I can begin calming right away. And so you begin building this rhythm. That rhythm creates a sense of safety, and when the body is safe, then that creates balance, and then the body can do other things. Yeah. So one, looking at continuous glucose numbers. So calibration check, right? How balance is maintained. So how do we maintain this concept of balance? Balance is not a position. It is a calibration. And so we want to ask ourselves, us a couple of questions. So how are we doing? Are we doing those things? And there we are, right? Are we doing those things to support the crossover? Right? The structures help to stabilize that. And what are the things that we have in place that we do in the process of maintaining stability? So, for example, how are you hydrating? Are you doing a good job of hydrating? How are you resting? Are you taking the time that you need to rejuvenate, to recover, to replenish? How are you doing at managing your stress load? Yeah. And a good point to be made here about the stress is often people will say to me, well, I can't get out of the. And that is true. Sometimes we can't get out of the stress. The stress is where it is, right? So if you're in a job that you can't leave for whatever reason, or someone at home is sick, you can't leave, yeah. Or, lots of other life changes are happening that you can't stop from happening. And so how you are dealing with stress becomes the point. Not getting out of the stress, but have you taken the time to learn the skills that are needed to help you manage stress? One of my favorite things to do is some visualization. And if you've been watching, if you've been following us, you know that one of my favorite places is St. Simon's Island. And so I use that in a lot of my conversation. I use that in a lot of the mindfulness and the meditation and the visualizations when I'm talking to people. So have you taken time to learn some tools that help you in this space? So we're talking about supporting the crossover. And then how is your structure? So all the things we do, or the things we're talking about, those are components. But do you have a structured process that helps you move through? Do you have a morning routine? Do you have an evening routine, right? I talk about bookending, right? Something you do in the morning, set the tone for the day, and something you do in the evening that caps the day and says, okay, what are we doing for tomorrow? Calibration keeps consistency alive. And so these are some things that we can do to support the crossover. The structure that we have in place helps us with the crossover. And remember, the body is already primed. It is waiting for us to give it the space to do what it needs as it moves through that, right? So let's talk a little bit about your 24-hour or 33-hour dashboard. 33-hour dashboard. So at 33 hours, right, we're going to let the data talk. And once again, this goes back to some of the things that we've already talked about. And this is this idea of looking at numbers and evaluating and making sure that you are processing. Structure produces balance. Balance produces safety. Or structure produces safety. Safety produces balance. And balance gets us to where we need to be. Right? So our dashboard. So looking at all those things we just talked about, that's your calibration. That is looking at the data and making sure that you're doing what you need to do. And asking those questions, very, very important in what we do. And then let's talk a little bit about what this all means. Right? What does this all mean for us? When we talk about health, when we talk about balance, sometimes we think that there is a mystical thing that happens and that brings health into place. It's almost like there's some pixie dust that gets thrown on us. We think that almost like we go into a phone booth or we go into the closet and we come out the other side and we're Superman, Superwoman. But it is the consistent, it is the showing up every time, it is the safety that we produce by having structure. It is the predictability that takes us in that direction, that takes us into long-lasting health. And so this transition zone, this transition period, this transition time is simply us taking a time to put something in place that helps our metabolism do what it already wants to do. That's what it is. And so the whole idea behind the transition zone is that we're no longer relying on our feeling like it. We're relying on the things that we've put in place. One of the things that I often will tell people is the time to begin building the system, begin building the pattern and the rhythm is actually when motivation is there. Because what often happens is we get motivated because of whatever reason, and we jump right into the things, right? Okay, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to do this, right? And we go throwing everything out. We go into the gym, we buy memberships, and we start hitting it hard. And great. But the time for the structure, putting the structure in place is actually when the motivation is there. Because then the motivation is there to put the structure in place, and then we start in the structure doing the things that we just talked about. So what is going to be the structure for the exercise? What is going to be the structure for the food? What is going to be the structure for the rest? But we bypass the structural part and we go straight into, okay, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to throw everything out, I'm going, right? So all that's good, but how do we maintain that? And there's the structure. And that's the whole idea with this transition, that we're giving the body space after motivation goes away for it to do what it wants to do and what it's needing to do, okay? And then let's talk a little bit about our inner design loop. Remember, the inner design loop is the engine of balance. It is the blueprint within a blueprint, if you will. It is the driving force and the mechanism that we can use to begin looking at our predictability and making sure that it is iteratively refined, meaning that we are constantly changing when life changes. And those things are our anchor, our alignment, and our adaptability. So at 33 hours, the anchor, the question is, what is my body actually telling me right now? What is it doing? What does it want? What are the things that are working? My anchor. Why am I doing this? An anchor. My alignment is, how do my rhythms match what my body needs right now and where I say I want to go? Are my behaviors consistent with where I want to go? Are the choices I'm making consistent with that? And then adaptability says, what small adjustments can I do to restore balance, to improve balance, and to continue moving down the path towards my goal? Remember, predictability builds metabolic peace. And so adaptability, or this we anchor, we align, and we adapt. This idea of adapting says, by virtue of having that in the inner design loop, that things are not perfect and we're not looking for perfection, because we're making space, we're making allowances for the fact that I have to evaluate and make changes. So what small adjustments, not big, massive overhauls, what small changes can I make? And that is, do I get up 5 minutes earlier? Instead of trying to do 30-minute workout, do I do a 5-minute workout? Because life has changed. I'm at the hotel. I'm actually at the hospital. I am traveling back and forth because whatever reason, I don't have the time for the full workout. I don't have the time for the full walk. I normally fast for 48 hours, but this week something's going on. I'm going to fast for 12 hours, 16 hours. I'm adapting. small changes, as opposed to saying, well, it's not working this week, so I'm not going to do anything. No, what is your minimum? What's the minimum requirement that you can do that still keeps you consistent and keeps you going in the right direction? So in the design loop, we anchor, we align, and we adapt. Anchor, align, and adapt. And so predictability builds metabolic peace. Remember that. Okay? And so where does our energy find its groove? Where does our balance really take root? The balance really takes root based on our personal structure. And you probably hear me say that word how many times already? It is the structure, it is the rhythm, it is the thing that gets us to success. I want you to pause for a minute, and I want you to think, where did I feel balanced today? What area? Was it in my eating? Was it in my movement? Was it in my rest and recovery, in my mental mastery? Was it in my scheduling? Where was that today? And what did that allow me to do because I had the balance in that area? I felt more energetic. I got better rest, so I had more resilience. I had better capacity. I'm eating well, more balanced meals, and so I have energy. I'm not having cravings because of the stuff I used to eat. Where was the balance today? And what emotion did that all elicit in me? Was I proud of myself? Did I feel more energy? Did I get more clarity in my thought? What did that do? And remember, balance will reveal itself, and imbalance will reveal itself. It will show it quietly. It will whisper to you. So here's a fasting question. Here's a question. And it is couched in this concept of balance, of rhythm, and transition. Balance, rhythm, and transition. And here's a question. When I'm fasting, and I am tempted to stop, when I'm fasting and I feel hunger, when I'm fasting and I feel changes in my energy, what is the thing that I can do to move through that hump? Right? So that moment. And usually that happens right around this time, 24, 33 hours, 36 hours. And here are some things that you can do. Number one, make sure that you're hydrated. Make sure you're hydrated. When you're hydrating, what you're doing is you're helping the body to get all of those hormones that we just talked about. All of those systems, right? They have to move through the blood. And when we're hydrated, we're giving it a good vehicle to transition all of these hormones as the body is doing different things. Hydration. The other thing that it does is it gives me something to do, right? So when we are not fasting and when we're using food as buffering, we're always grabbing something, right? So our mouth is moving, we're picking something up, we're grabbing something here and there. We got some nuts over there, we got some grapes over here, we got something else, a piece of candy. And so when we're hydrating, and I recommend sipping, don't just guzzle it, hydrating, get your cup, get your bottle, whatever it is, and sip it throughout the day, because what you're doing is you're hydrating, one, and you're also simulating the same process that you normally do when you're grabbing something to eat. Number two, you can go for a 10-minute walk. Change your position. Move a muscle, change a thought. As you are moving, your body, your mind gets diverted from whatever that thought was. And it begins to enjoy. It begins to calm. The waves of hunger begins to go. The craving begins to subside. The stress, maybe cortisol levels begin to go down because we are moving. Move a muscle, change a thought. And then third, very, very important, is develop a mechanism that allows you to, for the moment, pause. Whatever it is, visualization, prayer, devotion, yoga, meditation, whatever it is, develop a way to begin dealing with the thought processes, the emotions that come at this space. So hydrate yourself. Go for a 5 to 10 minute walk, move a muscle, change a thought. And develop a mechanism that you can turn to. Remember, it's a practiced behavior that you could turn to at this point. And have that in your back pocket. Put it on your wall somewhere. It's like, okay, when I begin feeling this at 24 to 36 hours, I will boom. I will boom. Right? Have a couple of them on there. The body is learning a new rhythm. And like any redesign, there are micro adjustments that need to happen along the way. And your goal is to put in place the mechanisms that you need so that you can continue to be successful. Structure turns discipline into design. Design turns fasting into balance. And balance turns effort into ease. And our goal is to decrease the friction so that we can do the things that we want to do over the long haul. Because ultimately our goal is not a one-off. The goal is, what can I do for the rest of my life? What process can I put into place so that I don't have to keep taking one step forward and two steps back, so that I can be stable in my health? Most people don't struggle with health, with chronic diseases, because they don't have a desire, because they don't have know-how, because they don't have dreams. They struggle because there is not a consistent structure. And the 33 hours, we're having that transition, and the body is primed. It's ready to do what we needed to do. We just have to give it the space. Come on back, hang out with us. We will talk more as we continue our fasting process, as we continue to work on being healthy so that you can be around for all those important people and all those important things in your lives. We'll see you next time. All right, so fasting 33 hours, y'all. This is where we are, and I'm so excited that you are here hanging out with us. Thank you for coming through. Let's see who we got. My so let's see. So I see a question there from Gian. She says, let's do this one. Doctor, I'm hard to sleep when I fast. I wake up till 3 a.m. yesterday. Is there any tip for sleeping when you're fasting? Now, So a couple of things that go on that happens when we fast. I usually recommend that people actually start their fasting at nighttime. So I recommend they start their fast. So whatever the meal is, right, that last meal for the evening, that they start their fast there, and they allow that to take them through the fast. The reason for that, a couple of things. Number one, when you start at that point, then you when you wake up, you're already well into the fast. So if you're doing a 24-hour fast, for example, when you go to sleep, when you wake up, you've already gone through 6 to 7, 8 hours. But if you started in the morning, first thing, you still have 24 hours to go. And when we are fasting, like if we're not doing it at nighttime, right, we're fasting during the day, we're actually coming up on the end of the fast at nighttime. And what do we tend to do? We tend to eat a lot more. Right? So it's a process. Start the fast after your last meal and let that take you through the fast. Another thing that happens is that fasting, when we're fasting, the initial parts of fasting can feel like a stressful event. And so drinking like teas, warm tea, making sure we're hydrated, have to flush some of those things out of our system, right? All of that is beneficial. And then, of course, activity, light activity. So not going to the gym and going hog wild, but light activity will help to calm you as well. It helps to calm those hormones. Okay, so that's a very good question. And let's see. And so Jihan was saying that her hunger keeps her up at night, right? And so that's one of the reasons for doing the fast or starting the fast right after well, not right after, but as your meal, that last meal, because when you fast, you just finish eating, and you're better able to get through the night. But if you are during the daytime, you start in the daytime, by the time you get to fast or nighttime again, if you're still in the fast, you may still have some hunger pangs and cravings, and that makes it difficult to go to sleep. Let's see. Yeah, so if you're here, you saw our pop-up today. You are welcome. So let's see a couple of things. So during the transition, some of you, I think you said you had difficulty hearing. Okay, all right. So y'all, this is so exciting to me. Our Triple E Formula for Success. This is really the crux of what we do. Okay, so the teaching, the show, the platform is based on our educate, empower, and encourage. We educate, we empower, and encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcast. We empower with the tools that we're learning, and we encourage with the family, the group, the gang that we have that you are an integral part of. And we're so excited when you come because you are a big component of the group, big component of the show, big component of the platform. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear where you're having successes as your blood sugars are improving, your A1C is going down, you're getting off of medication, you're having good success with blood pressure and cholesterol and fatty liver, and your weight is improving as well. So all those things along the metabolic spectrum. But we also want to hear where you're having some challenges. Because the challenges that you're having, when you are sharing that, other people begin to see that it's not just me. And they understand that it's not about perfection. It's about, hey, how do we keep showing up every single time? We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And remember, you get to be a voice for change. You get to say to your family, your friends, your community, your doctor's office, your church, brothers, sisters, mama, daddy, cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews, right? All of them, you get to say, hey, we can be different. We don't have to keep having the same complications. And so make sure that you are coming through and that you're hanging out with us because we are so excited that you are here hanging out with us right now. But y'all, we will continue going through our week. We'll have our pop-up tomorrow at 48 hours. And then tomorrow night we'll come back. We'll talk about our adaptation zone. right? We're adapting. So we've moved from the motivation to metabolism, and then metabolism actually settles in and it says, hey, I'm good now, right? Now let's go ahead and let's do some of those things that you need in the body to help repair and to help fix. So we'll do that. And then, of course, on Friday, we have our full review of fasting as we talk about how to prepare for the fast, get through the fast, and how to break the fast. So come on back, hang out with us as we move through the rest of this week as we talk about balance. That's our goal. And we want to provide for you all those places where you can just plug in and become a part. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. You are here, and I am here because we want you to have the success in your health, just like you're having in all other areas of your life. We want you to be able to show up for the important things, your family, your friends, your community, and for those dreams that you've been pouring into. You don't need superhuman strength. What you need is a strategy you can trust. You need a plan you can follow, and you need the support and the determination to keep showing up every single time. Let's go ahead. We'll take another listen to that MOVE campaign, and then we'll be out of here. Good night, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you in the community. Welcome to MOVE, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is MOVE. Let's get started.